Hi, Paul. Let's talk about diversity in Europe and how it relates to Erasmus Plus and learning mobility. Learning mobility is usually thought or understood as something that stimulates people's intercultural skills and is helping to build up European citizenship as well. In other words, if you go on Erasmus, you come back as a more tolerant European citizen who respects more diversity, right?
Well, that's the general idea, and I think it often works like this, although there's also interesting sociological work on how there are actually differences in how people experience their Erasmus abroad experience and how they perceive the European project. So it depends a little bit on what kind of country you're from, what the general perception of the European Union is in that country, and also how you look at Europe yourself. Diversity is something that people learn to deal with going abroad, doing learning mobility, but it doesn't mean that the Erasmus Plus program doesn't have problems with forms of diversity, particularly in terms of distinctive forms of discrimination that remain part of the project, but that are not often addressed and not very much talked about.
Wow, that's interesting. So what are the types of discrimination that we're talking about?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have that much data and research on this. There is an interesting analysis of some years ago from a project called Social Inclusion and Engagement in Mobility. It was spearheaded by the Erasmus Student Network. And they surveyed some 12,000 students, of which something around 24%, so roughly a fourth, of the participants said that they did experience some form of discrimination in going abroad during their Erasmus period. And almost a third of the people that indicated an ethnic minority background argued they had experienced discrimination on the basis of their identity, whereas only 3% of white people said something similar.
So this indicates that we need to know much more about the potential forms and sources of discrimination and exclusion also in learning mobility, right? And probably all those involved in Erasmus Plus may want to discuss further these and more, and also in a more open and critical fashion.
Yes, indeed. We are facing really complex differences in Europe that we too often forget or paper over. Think of current discussions on woke decolonial Europe. There are really different relations of countries with their colonial past. Even the European Union itself has a relation to a colonial past. And so there's a complexity of differences that also includes other dimensions like ongoing differences between Eastern and Western Europe, or in terms of identities, gender identity and LGBTQIA issues, and that are differently perceived throughout Europe. So in this module, we want to sort of start up a bit this discussion, make these historical differences more transparent, talk about them together, also to help to become more tolerant towards these differences, to make Europe really a kind of project united in diversity.